witness unless the honorable commissioners have questions to ask the witness.
Mr. Foon,
Yes.
I just wanted to clarify something. I think I heard you mention a short while ago that for these walkabout resolutions, you mentioned that the chairperson should not sign, or you do not need to go back for him to sign.
Yes, if he's not out of town.
If he is out of town,
yes. Yes. If he is out of town. Because once the majority of the board members have signed and the requirements have been met to proceed, because usually these matters before management are urgent, and usually once they have the quorum and the majority have signed, they will usually proceed to.
Okay, that's fine. You can proceed. But who has the responsibility for managing and directing the corporation?
The board.
Good. So even if the chairperson is not available, but that does not stop you from going back to get it signed, does it?
Yeah, but it's not a requirement in the sense that, this is a collective board, and it indicates the quorum that is required for the board to approve.
Yeah, we do understand all of that, but the point we're trying to make is even if the chairperson is out of town and action has been taken, but you still have to go back to get that document signed by the chairperson. That's what we're trying to say. So to say that you don't have to go back, it's not the right procedure to do.
No, what I'm saying is not a requirement in the sense that once the quorum is stipulated, and once the majority of the board members have signed, including usually the representative of the line ministry, the management usually proceeds with the approval that is granted.
I think you're not getting the point. What we're saying is, despite approval being granted, we are saying that the chairperson has a responsibility. That's why he or she is appointed as the chairperson of that corporation or institution or whatever it is. So even if an action is taken, they're not around, but you still must go back and have the document signed. That's what we're trying to say. So it does not have to be a requirement. This is just common governance practice. That's what needs to be done.
Well, that has.
It wasn't been done,
been the practice, no.
But it should be done. That's what we're saying.
Always been the practice.
My main question for this is, I understand all these, when directives are given, you have mainly walkabout resolutions were obtained, which is fine. But what I want to get to, as a normal practice, usually at board meetings, a presentation's done on investments that are made to the board, showing them the returns expected, how the performance is being done, because from what you mentioned, it's only when you can't recover. That's when it was mentioned at the board minutes.
Excuse me, I didn't get your point.
Generally at board meetings,
Yes.
when presentations are done by various managers, I expect, presentations done on the investments that are made, guarantees, do you give status of these things?
Whether it is done at the board level, the presentation is done at the board. Well, if a normal board meeting is scheduled, yes, usually there is a board paper that is prepared by management and presented to the board based on the subject matter, whether it is investment or loan facilities. So that is done usually during normal board meetings. Board papers are prepared by management and presented to the board, giving justification for whatever investment or loan facilities that is to be granted. But as far as resolutions are concerned, the only thing that is attached to it and the subject matter that is provided in terms of the write-up, that is what the board will consider and probably give approval or disapprove based on whatever their position is on the subject matter.
Okay, but then, which is fine, but then the question going back, these directives that were given, monies were giving out, from what I understand, there were no there were no follow-ups made, no follow-up presentations were made to the board. It's only when recovery cannot be done, that's when it's brought to the attention of the board.
Well, I cannot say whether no presentations were done because that is the responsibility of management.
But you're the board secretary?
Yes.
So you take minutes?
Yes.
So you should know what is said?
That whether presentations were done on the walkabouts that were already approved for investment?
Yes, whether the status was being, whether were they updated, were they not? You mentioned yourself here that it's only when there were difficulties with recovery.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what I can
it's a
recall,
simple question. Yes.
What I can recall usually is the difficulties they had on recovery that usually that they would, discuss with the board with matters regarding how or what manner in which they can, adopt to recover these loans.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Mr. Foon,
Yes.
in any of your board meetings, was it ever tabled that some of the contributors who are administering their own internal provident funds are actually performing better than your own fund?
No, I could not recall any.
Your board, is your board aware that all these private sector people contributing monthly are actually administering their own internal funds for their staff, and their provident fund is actually performing better?
I am not aware when.
Well, I think you need to table that, because it becomes a question why they should be contributing to you when they can do better in-house. These things are not for granted.
Not me.
Maybe in part, no, you are a board member, head of HR.
No, I am not a board member. I am secretary to the board.
Yes, you attend the meetings, that's what I mean.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, and you are an executive in terms of SSHFC.
Yes.
The reason you sit there is because you have a voice as a leader. What we haven't gotten from all the representatives of SHFC is ownership and responsibility. Everybody comes and says, it's not me, it's not me. What we want for once is people in executive roles taking ownership and responsibility. So this is a message for you to the board, that it is now a question whether people should actually continue contributing if they can do it in-house, better and without risk.
Well,
that's probably part of your AOB.
Okay. I will relay that to the managing director, because
it's food for
he
thought.
is the one who is a member of the board.
The whole board, please tell them.
Okay.
Why should people continue to contribute if they can do better in-house and put their money away from risk? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, may I apply for the witness to be discharged? May I apply for the witness to be discharged?
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, I have one more witness. I don't know whether Mr. Kalilou Bayo. We can start and see how far we can go.
Call him in.
Mr. Kalilou Bayo.
It's better so that the whole afternoon.
Quran. You read after me, sir.
Okay. I swear by the Almighty Allah
I swear by Almighty Allah
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
that the evidence I shall give to this commission
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
but the truth.
So help me Allah.
So help me Allah.
Okay, you can wait for the instruction.
Thank you.
Could you, what is your occupation?
I'm retired, but I'm an independent researcher and writer.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Providing consulting services as well.
I didn't get that. You are a retiree?
I'm a retired civil servant.
Yes.
I'm also a researcher and writer.
You're a retired civil servant and a researcher and also a writer.
I'm involved in independent research and writing, as well as providing consulting services.
Okay. As a civil servant, where were you working?
Well,
in which part of government were you working?
Well, I started in the Ministry of Economic Planning in 1979. Then I was loaned to the Ministry of Works in 1983. Then appointed Commissioner, McCarthy Island Division in 1984. I served in that position for 2 years, then moved to the Office of the President as Deputy Permanent Secretary in 1986. The following year, in 1987, I was appointed as Technical Advisor to the President on Senegambian Confederation. I served in those capacities until 1989, when I was appointed as Permanent Secretary, Ministry for Local Government. The following year, I moved to the Ministry of Education as Permanent Secretary. I was in that position until 1995. In 1995, I was asked to retire by the new government. That same year, I returned to the United States, where in 2002, I returned to the Gambia, just to visit. Then a few years later, I came back here to start a small business, including consulting services. I was committing between the Gambia and the United States during that period until 2014, when I was appointed as Secretary General and Minister for Presidential Affairs.
Okay, which period in 2014 were you Secretary General?
Towards the end of, well, middle of July to early January, July 2014 to early January the following year, 2015.
So it's correct that you have worked with two presidents, the president
That's correct.
Sadao Kerabajaro and ex-president.
That is correct.
Okay. Can you tell us your duties as a Secretary General at the Office of the President? What were your duties during the time of President Jawara, and what duties were you carrying out during the time of President Jammeh?
During Jawara's time, the First Republic, I was a close assistant to the then Secretary General, I believe one of the best the Gambia ever had, Dr. James Ayo Langley. Those days we were involved in true civil service work, research, writing, reporting, advising the President, and exercising general surveillance over the entire civil service. As technical advisor to the President of Confederal Matters, I was responsible for leading the negotiations for the adoption of the protocols of implementation for the Senegambia Confederation.
Okay. What were your day-to-day duties apart from doing research and
in
advising the President? Yes.
We had day-to-day administrative work, writing minutes, advising the President, advising the Secretary General, and also getting involved in personal matters.
Okay. In 2014, you took up the role as Secretary General at the Office of the President. What were your duties? Because in the First Republic, you were technical assistant, I suppose. But in 2014, you became Secretary General. So what were you doing in 2014?
Well, my letter of appointment was a standard letter issued to ministers. You are reminded about cabinet procedures, about how to prepare cabinet memoranda, and so forth. Very little, if any, about the role of the Secretary General. Well, having had that experience previously, I was directly involved in advising the President on certain issues, and particularly file work. There was a lot of volume of files flowing between my office and the office of the President, because every single letter that came into that office had to be minuted to the President. He would minute back through me, and I will distribute the files to different officers for action. This was basic standard work.
Was that normal?
And writing, sorry?
So was that a normal procedure? Having worked with two presidents, was that a normal procedure?
I wouldn't say so, no.
Okay.
Say so.
Yes. You were saying something else?
I was saying also writing speeches, of course. It's a routine thing for various occasions.
Okay. The duties of the Secretary General, is it written in any government paper or government document as to what the duties of the Secretary General entails? Is it written anywhere?
Not really. In the years that I spent in the Office of the President with Dr. James Ayo Langley, it's very clear that the head of civil service, responsible for advising PSC on the appointment of senior public officials.
Okay.
And also providing general direction for the development of different projects and programs, and also supervising government ministries.
All right. Mr. Bayo, who is the accounting officer at the Office of the Office of the President?
Accounting officers are designated annually in the estimates.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I say accounting officers for the Office of the President and all other government departments and ministries are listed in the estimates annually, every year. Now, for the Office of the President, the accounting officer is the Secretary General.
Okay. All right. Mr. Bayo, whilst you were the Secretary General, you became signatory to some bank accounts in commercial banks and the Central Bank of the Gambia. Can you recall?
Can I just make a clarification on this accounting officer?
Yes, you can continue.
Yes.
I thought you had finished.
As I said, the Secretary General is the accounting officer in the Office of the President.
Yes.
But in my short experience, I believe I was a designated accounting officer, not an accounting officer in practice. What do I mean by that? According to the foundational statutory instrument for financial management in the civil service, namely the financial instructions, accounting officers have specific functions to perform, among which are the control of votes in his or her department, issuing approvals for payments, and more important, I want to emphasize this, among several of the functions of accounting officers, is to ensure that the operations of his department are not at variance with government policies. This is very important. So as I was, by designation, accounting officer, in practice, taking into account these functions, I was not, because I didn't have any of those powers.
So you're saying that it's written on paper, but in practice it was not followed?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to refresh your memory. Do you remember being signatory to bank accounts of at Central Bank of the Gambia and some commercial banks in respect of state corporations?
Initially, on arrival, I was confronted with some forms to sign as specimen signature.
Sorry, I think there's a problem with the microphone.
Sorry,
system.
can you hear me?
Just hang on a few minutes, let him just...
Can I please?
Yes, sorry, you can continue.
Yes, I say on arrival, I was asked to submit my signature for certain accounts. I was not comfortable with that at all. Why? 3 reasons. One, I had no knowledge about those accounts. 2, according to my own, what I call internal code, my own convictions and desires. For many years in the service, I have never been keen in poking my hand in financial matters whatsoever. Partly because I found financial administration a bit routine. With due respect to professionals in this field, I studied finance and accounting myself as part of my MBA training, but I was never keen. That's one reason. The other, well, that's the second reason. The first one is I didn't have any knowledge of these accounts. And thirdly, there were a sufficient number of officers who were already signatories to this account. So I told one of the senior officers, put up a memo, I will, pass it through me, and tell the president that my predecessor, who is still on the premises, he didn't move out of the office, that he can continue signing, but I was not interested. Well, that memo, sorry.
Sorry, what was the outcome? You said you wrote.
Well, I'm coming to that.
Yeah.
The memo was prepared and sent through me. The reply was quick and tart. It says that the Secretary General didn't have authority to decide who should be signatory. In other words, I had no choice but to be a signatory. To put it briefly, the responsibility of signing was thrust upon me in this manner, but I was not interested for the reasons that I've just outlined.
I'm going to show you an exhibit which was already admitted by Mr. Nuha Ature, who was former Secretary to Cabinet. I want you to look at it and confirm whether this is the reply you just mentioned. It's exhibit MS-44, Mr. Chairman.
Well, this is not about what I was talking about.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
This is not about what I was talking about.
Okay. Were you the Secretary General in July 2014 on the date on the minute?
That's right.
And it is stated in that minute by the ex-president that you were required to sign. You had no choice but to sign.
Yeah, but I'm talking about the original memo that was sent to him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have a copy of that memo?
I don't have it.
You don't have it. Where can we get that copy?
It's the same outcome. This is what he said essentially, that I had to sign.
Well, the memo you mentioned,
Yes.
and the initial response from the president.
Yes.
Is it minuted? Is it exhibits regarding some withdrawals and transfers that were made from those accounts, that is Sky Bank, Access Bank, and Guarantee Trust Bank accounts of Gambia National Petroleum? And these withdrawals and transfers were approved by yourself and the ex-president. I'm going to show you Exhibit BB66, which is a withdrawal for the sum of $100,000 by Mr. Sanajaju, former Chief of Protocol. Can you just confirm the approval?
Yes, this is my signature.
Okay. Can you tell us the purpose of that withdrawal, the $100,000 that was paid to Sanajaju?
Most of it I can recall, but payment, well, similar requests were made just before this date. This is dated 16 January.
Yes, that's right.
2014. I think this might be an error. I was not in the office in January 2014.
Okay.
That's what the letter says. I was not in the office then. But this is my signature.
Okay. So are you saying that you did not make that approval, or are you saying there's an error on the date?
I'm saying that the date on this letter is January 16, 2014, long before I entered that office. It could have been an error, but I do remember, just to help you, ma'am, I do remember in the middle of December, Senator Jaju did come to me for some withdrawal from Sky Bank. The requests were already signed by the president, and I had to sign as a signatory. That one was in connection to his vacation to Dubai.
Okay, we'll come to Skybank.
Okay.
We'll come to Skybank.
Okay.
What you have in now is Access Bank.
Yeah.
Do you know what the purpose was for this 100,000?
I think we have to clear one thing there. The date, I have to go by the date.
Okay.
So the date is not correct.
I'm going to give you the PRC file where the letter should be, and you can go through and check whether you will see any document that will assist you. Can you give the witness the PRC? You have the PRC on the letter is PRC 544 volume 1. That's the PRC 544 volume 1.
So what do you want me to do here? It's a whole file.
I believe all letters are contained in a file at the Office of the President.
Okay, so do you have time? The Commissioner has time for me to go through this?
No, I want you to look at the folio number of that letter and check whether you will find it in the file.
Okay, good. What I see here as a folio number is 92, this letter, and this file does not contain folio 92.
Can I see the letter that you're referring to?
I suppose it's the
no. There's the second letter.
Okay,
this is the document from Access Bank. The second, the one that has your signature.
okay. But I still don't see a folio number here.
Is there folio 2
Okay.
as indicated in the letter?
All right, let me see that. Yeah, I've seen that. Sorry, that's not the one.
Is the letter in
Yeah, yeah.
number 2 the same as the letter you have?
No, the folio 2 here is concerns change of signatory.
Okay. So
Now the date though is different. The date, the January printed date January has been deleted and replaced by December in this one.
okay. Mr. Bayo, can you explain how it works if letters are brought to your office for signature? Do you make reference to the file? Because the reference is to lead you to a file. So you're saying that the folio number in the file is different from the letter that you have. What is the procedure in terms of letters and referencing?
It is such a minor issue that I checked it and I don't deal with that. There's a registry that handles that.
Okay. So, but you cannot remember what the purpose of these monies were.
Well, there's the big error here first.
Yes.
The date is wrong. So once I given a chance to see the right date, I can relate to it.
You didn't realize that the date was wrong when you were signing the letter?
I didn't look at that. I didn't look at the date. I looked at the fact that the president has signed a request for withdrawal.
Mr. Bayo, the letter refers to a PRC file, and in that PRC file you are holding, there is no mention of this withdrawal of $100,000.
Let me say this. If the date is wrong, it has to be wrong because my signature is there, and I was not in that office on the 16th of January. It must be December. So around that time, I can relate to that and answer your question.
Yes, but as Secretary General, if $100,000 is being withdrawn from a state corporation account, you wouldn't deem it necessary to know what the purpose was for?
Well, I thought I'm heading for that. We are trying to clarify what folio, what date.
Yes.
This is what we're trying to clarify. About the purpose, I can tell you that. I started talking about that. You said to hold on.
All right.
All right. I can talk about that now. I remember Senator Jaju coming to my office with either a voucher or a check signed by the president first, asking for a withdrawal. And on that particular day, I think he went to one or two banks, and it had to do with the president's proposed trip on vacation to Dubai, because the president told me that he was going to Dubai, and he asked me to write a letter to the president of the United Arab Emirates. So that money was meant for that trip, for that vacation.
Okay.
About the middle of December, this is roughly 2 weeks before the attack on State House by diaspora dissidents.
How did you see this approval? Didn't you advise the president that he can't take monies from state corporation to finance his holiday?
No, I didn't tell him that. No.
What was the reason? Why didn't you tell him that?
Well, he was the man in charge. I was not an accounting officer. He was totally in charge. He signed it already. Let me tell you, these accounts were established well before I got there. How they were, I didn't know their history, when they were opened, how they are fed and milked. By fed meaning what deposits were made into those accounts. By milked meaning the trend of withdrawals. I didn't know all about that. So that was not the time for me to say, Mr. President, you cannot use this account.
But Mr. Bayo, when you started giving your evidence, your testimony, you told this commission that you were guided by certain principles.
Yes.
Yes. When you saw this letter, did those principles come to your attention that this is something that I should raise and tell the president that he can't finance his holiday from state corporation accounts?
I think I also told you that he dismissed that principle by saying that I didn't have any choice. I had to be a signatory.
So you took it that the fact that he said you have to be a signatory, whatever transaction he asked you to sign, you were supposed to sign it without.
No, not whatever, but when the head of state, the avatar of the nation, signs something and is brought to you for counter signature, you sign.
Okay.
I wouldn't stop that.
That's fine. Okay, we'll move to the second one. This is from Skybank. You have 3 transactions from Skybank. The first one is a sum of 150,000 euros paid from the Skybank GNPC account to the Office of the President's account at Access Bank. And the second one, it's another $200,000 that was also paid to Sanajaju. And the third one is the payment of 65,000 euros to BPI Tourism and Services. Can you just...
What's the last one, please?
Is payment made to BPI Tourism and Services. They are currently running the Ocean Bay Hotel. Could you kindly go through the documents and confirm whether those signatories are yours? Exhibit BB63.
Yes, I have two signatures here, my signatures, along with that of the former president.
Start with the first one,
Okay.
the 150,000 euros paid to the account of the Office of the President at Access Bank. What was the purpose of that payment?
No, this first one I have here is the transfer request. Is that the one you're talking about?
Yes, that's the one.
Yes. This is requesting a transfer of an amount from one account to another.
Yes.
Your question is?
What was the purpose? There must be a reason why the monies were being transferred.
Well, he asked for it. I don't know. I don't know.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said he asked for it. I didn't know what it was meant for.
You asked for it.
He asked for it. He directed that the transfer be made.
And you also did not question the...
No.
Okay. The second one is the $200,000 paid to Sanajaju as well.
Yeah, this is what I referred earlier. Sanajaju came to my office twice around this time, middle of December, regarding their trip to Dubai. So I remember signing a request for Sky and as well as this one. I remember as well.
So are you saying that the one for Access Bank was also in December?
Yeah, it could.
It was also
Around
in December.
the time, yeah.
And the purpose was for the
For the
trip of the
it was
ex-president.
a hurriedly arranged trip.
Okay. The third one is payment to BPI Tourism.
Payment to?
BPI Tourism. It's letter dated 22nd December 2014.
Okay. Okay.
Have you seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Okay. I want you to go through the PRC file that you have with you.
Yes.
And can you check for the folio number on that letter in the PRC file?
Are you asking for the purpose of this payment?
Yes. No, I want you to, I've not yet asked the question. I just want you to go through the file, the PRC file you have with you, and look for the folio. That's folio number 4. Have you seen it?
I've seen folio number 4.
Attached to it are documents from BPI Tourism. Can you confirm?
Folio 4 was not signed by me.
Yes.
Was not signed by me.
It wasn't signed by you.
No.
Okay. But you signed the letter.
Yeah, this letter, the original one, yeah.
And the letter also states folio 4.
Yes.
Okay. It's the same error occurring for the second time, or?
No, I don't think so. This signature here on folio 4 is the signature of my successor.
Okay. Can you check whether the documents attached to folio 4 have any relation with the letter that you signed? Can you just go through those documents?
Yeah, okay.
And the minutes. Do they have any connection?
I cannot establish one.
Sorry?
I cannot establish one.
There's
The connection, perhaps the amount.
The amount.
Yeah, the amount is the same, and reference to the account name.
There's a minute dated 11th December 2014. Have you seen it there? Signed by the permanent secretary. And the president also responded to the minute on the same date.
I don't see that.
Can I have the file?
Yeah. You can flag it so I can see.
The file. Were you looking at the file or you were looking at the
I
letters?
was looking at this.
No, I mean the file.
Oh, okay. Well,
The file.
what was the date again?
Folio 4.
Okay. Folio 4 here, it says 2nd April 2015. Not December. Oh, wait a minute. There are two folio 4s here. Okay, I see this one, yes. 22nd December.
Yes.
Okay.
The documents attached to that letter.
Okay.
Can you check whether they have any connection with the letter you signed?
Whether?
Whether they have any connection with the letter that you signed.
Okay. Yeah, I remember this one. The letter I signed is a transfer request,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
I don't see the direct link to this one.
Is there any letter from BPI Tourism for the same amount you signed? Is there any letter in that file from BPI Tourism for the same amount you signed for?
In which file? I have two files here. Which
in
one?
in the file that you're looking at.
Yes.
A letter dated 30th October 2014. Have you seen it?
Better way of doing this.
Mr. Bayo, let me assist you.
Yeah.
Can you bring the file? I'll just flag
think
the
so.
I'll just flag it for you. Maybe that would be better.
Getting
I have flagged the letters. Can you confirm whether the first letter is the copy of the letter you signed and the supporting documents?
these two are different.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
One is request for payment. The other request for transfer.
Okay. And what else?
There's mention of account name, Office of the President. There is no such mention of account name, Office of the President here. There is mention in this 22nd December folio, Deutsche Bank of Germany. No such mention in this other folio. So
are you looking at the right letter,
well,
Mr.?
I hope so, because there are so many things to go through here.
Can I see the exhibit number you're looking at? Mr. Bayo, you were looking at the wrong letter. I said 22nd December. You were looking at 8th September.
Your idea is 22nd December here too.
Yes.
Yes, these are the same.
Okay. I want you to also check the documents attached to that letter, whether they're in connection. That's what I wanted you to confirm. The documents from
whether they are in connection to what?
To BPI Tourism. The documents in the file, not the exhibit.
Yeah, they appear to be related from his minute as well.
How about the minutes?
How about what?
The minutes.
The minute mention company name.
Can you look at the second paragraph in the minutes?
That's what I'm
Which
looking
talks
at.
about the bill of the Syrian doctors.
Sorry?
Have you seen it? Have you seen the second paragraph of the minutes?
Yes.
talking about the bill pending for Syrian doctors. Have you seen it?
He says, well, the second paragraph says, documentary, I can't read this one. He wanted the document to be handed over to him. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, the ex-president's minute?
Yes.
That's what I'm looking at. It started at minute 31, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Folio 31, yes.
Yes.
What did he say in that minute?
He says, second paragraph we are interested in. I can't decipher his second word. Okay, documentary something, and I want the don't hand it over not later than Tuesday the 16th instance.
Okay. Mr. Bayo, you will agree with me that the minutes were in respect of two issues.
Yes.
A documentary that was being done for the president and the payment of the Syrian doctors.
He rejected that.
He rejected that.
Yes.
And that payment was in respect of the letter you signed.
Yes.
So I want you to explain to this commission how he eventually signed for that payment when he initially rejected it.
How what?
From the minutes,
Yes.
the president did not agree to pay the bills to BPI Tourism because he said that those doctors, the arrangements they had with the hotel was not done by the office of the president. So the office of the president should not pay the bill.
Mm-hmm. For the Syrian doctor, for the Syrians.
For the Syrian doctors. Yeah. Yes, eventually, the letter you signed showed a payment made to BPI Tourism. I want you to explain to the commission what happened, what led to the payment.
Well, it's very clear. He approved that.
Yes, I know he approved it. But do you have anywhere, is it stated anywhere where he subsequently approved it?
Subsequent approval. After this?
Yes.
Who else is going to approve that subsequently? He has already approved.
No. He didn't approve in this minute.
I think he has.
He approved the payment for the documentary, but not the payment to BPI. Can you look at the minutes properly?
Yeah. I assumed here because I have a copy of this in my own private folder.
Sorry, I didn't get that.
I said I have a copy of this minute.
Yes.
In my private folder. I remember that.
You have the copy of the minutes in your private folder?
Let me just see.
Can you check?
Yeah.
I'm afraid we'll have to rise. We'll be back tomorrow at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.